She was always like a feather in the air. I never knew she was flying or falling. She was always like a feather in my life. I hope she flies.
Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you hear any squawking, this is because... Are you good? Are you going to be quiet for any of this filming? Or are you going to talk the whole time? Joining me is this cute little kitty. Hi, kitty. Today's video is going to be a story time video because my life is absolutely insane, you guys know. So I have a crazy story about one time I got scammed. Why wouldn't I get scammed? That is exactly my life. That is something that would absolutely happen to me, and it did. So it all started in the summer when Eliza was 6 weeks. Let me not scratch my head. When Eliza was 6 weeks old, we had gotten in a fight with my mom, and so we had moved out to my friend's house. We were there for a long time, and I felt really bad because she lives with her grandmother and her mom, so I felt like I was kind of intruding. There's this lady that I'd been babysitting for many, many, many years, and I was talking to her about it, and she's like, we have an extra room. If you want, you can come stay here. We won't charge you rent, and you can save up and get your own place. And I was like, really? That would be awesome. The next day, I moved in. Everything was fine for the first night. I went to work, I came back, we went to sleep. I woke up the next morning, parents weren't home, and then about an hour after I woke up, they came home and the mom came up to me crying because the Wi-Fi had been shut off, and she was so afraid that her kids were going to be mad at her because there was no Wi-Fi and it was summer vacation and they were going to complain that they were bored. So then her and her husband were going over how they were going to figure out how to pay this internet bill. And so they asked me, do you have any money? And at this time I was saving up for us to get an apartment, so I had some money. I was like, yeah, I can give you guys like $100 to go towards it. And then they were like, okay. But then they decided they had no money except from $20 from their oldest son to put towards the cable bill. And so they asked me, is there any way that you can cover it completely and we will get the money back to you in 2 days when I get paid? And I said, yeah, that's fine, whatever. I'm leaving for vacation in 2 days up to the Cape with my daughter. So I will go to work that morning, come back, get the money, and leave for the Cape from there. All was well and good. They logged into their cable account, and I paid with my card. 2 days later, I was meant to leave for vacation. So I get home from work, and I'm like, hey, I need to leave. Do you guys have the money? And the mom was like, oh, no, I don't have the money. We haven't gone to the bank yet to cash the check. I'm like, I told you guys what time I was leaving. So we are going to call these people John and Mary. I called my friend and was like, hey, John and Mary have not cashed their check yet, so they don't have the money. I don't think I'm going to be able to come because by the time they get to the bank and get back, because for some reason they use a bank really far away from their house, by the time they do that, the baby's going to be cranky. It's going to be way too late to drive 2 hours with her. And my friend was like, no, it's fine. We will lend you the money. Just give it back when you can. And I was like, okay, awesome, perfect. I won't need to borrow much. When I come back, I have to go to my parents' house for some meeting they were having there. So I'm there having the meeting, whatever, and then immediately after I had to go to work. I texted Mary's phone and was like, hey, are you guys going to have that money tonight? Because now I owe some of that money to my friend. Well, I got no reply, and about an hour later, I get a text from her husband saying, hi, this is John. When you get back, we need to talk. So I go back to the house that night, and they have a whole bunch of company over. So I'm like, okay, apparently they don't want to talk to me tonight. So I went into the room, and I was like, this is not good. They owe me money, and now they want to sit down and have a talk. So that means either they think they should be able to keep the money, or they're going to tell me that I can't stay here anymore. So at that point, I texted my parents. My parents were kind enough to say that we could go back and live with them. The next morning, I wake up, and the wife is downstairs, and the dad is upstairs, and I told her, hey, my parents are coming, they're going to get my stuff, and we're going to go move back in with them. And she's like, oh, great, because that's what John needed to talk to you about. My parents came by, and they own this house, and they can't know that we're having anybody live here, and all these excuses. And I'm like, wow, you just literally told me that it was no big deal. We could stay here while we saved up like to rent an apartment. And like, I didn't say any of this to her, but I was thinking like, that's messed up. What if my parents had been like, no, you can't come back here? What were we supposed to do? So my parents came and got my stuff, John and Mary were very helpful getting my stuff out, and then John told me, we will have money for you on payday. I'm like, that's perfect. I will be at work. So on payday, I text them, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm at work until this time, and I'll come over right after because they don't live very far from my work. And he said, that's absolutely fine. We will see you then. So I go there thinking they're going to have the full amount of money. It was about $300 that I had lent them. So he hands me $100 and says, this is what I have for you, but I will have more for you on my next payday. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You're making an effort. It's no big deal. We have somewhere to be right now. Like, I'm fine. I'm not strapped for money. I will just get it from you next week. Next week comes, and I text the mom, and I'm like, hey, Mary, do you have that money? And she's like, oh, no, we don't have it. And then I'm like, okay. And then I didn't say anything for a couple of weeks. And a couple of weeks later, I didn't have any money, and I really needed it because Eliza had a very important doctor's appointment that we needed to go to, which was far away from my house, so I needed it for gas and parking and co-pays and whatever. So I text her like, hey, do you have that money or any of that money? Because, you know, Eliza has this really important appointment that she needs to go to, and I really need it. And she's like, oh, no, sorry, we don't, with a sad face. And at this point, I'm like, okay, this is so messed up. Like, I'm a single mom. You guys have 5 kids. You have a house. You have 2 cars. You take money from some homeless person with a baby and never give it back. That's messed up. Then about 3 weeks later, I was like, okay, I'm going to try again and ask them. So I texted them. I texted Mary and said, do you guys have the money for me? And she ignored me. And it has been about 3 months now. I have not heard anything. She has not even read my text. I know she's constantly on her phone. I know she saw the text and purposely ignored it. So that is super aggravating to me. And I know that she has plenty of money and could pay me back. And I know that she's sitting in her house comfortably smoking weed in the house with her kids because that is something she does. And I try not to judge people. Like, do what you want. Your habits impede you paying your bills, and then you borrow money for bills from somebody else who is way worse off than you and can't pay them back. That's when I do have a problem. So all in all, I was very nice to this family. I babysat for them multiple times for free, never asked for a dime. Did it out of the goodness of my heart because I liked their kids. They went and scammed me for almost $200. Awesome. I'm so happy. Look at my happy face. That's a good story. I should tell it at parties, huh? If you have stumbled upon this video on accident, please take the time to hit the red subscribe button down below. We are a daily vlogging channel. Here's my cute baby. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you would like more story times, leave comments of suggestions down below. And as always, we will see you tomorrow for our next video. We hope you guys have a great day.
Oh, now you're recording. Yeah, you have 20 minutes.
Get in the zone, auto zone. Ooh. How'd that feel? Oh, you're not phased? Look, there's a ball over there. Play with this ball. Well, guys, here we are. This is Vlogception. Hey, my directors. I'm scratching my butt crack right now.
Baby.
Take the ball. Get out. No, don't bring her in here. She was being so loud.
Yes, such a happy baby.
We are doomed. Cable bill. This. It's a cable bill, right? Okay.
Cable internet. Yeah.
This, but.
Just started at 20 minutes again. It's 20 minutes per.
Yeah, that's what it does. You didn't know that?
No.
Nikons do that. My Nikon did that. Remember, it would only record for 29 minutes? The Canon doesn't do that. But where I'm going with the story.